of NFL Back Together weekend as we get ready to kick off the start of the NFL season. With that, we bring in our NFL analyst, Sam Acho, to go through some camp storylines. So, Acho, starting off in the AFC, what 3 storylines are you keeping your eyes on?
The first one is Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. Will there be a sophomore slump, or will Bo Nix be able to compete for an AFC West title? Last year, they took really Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to the last second. A missed field goal cost them, but this year they have Evan Ingram. This year, what did Bo Nix do? He spent the offseason with Drew Brees, learning the offense. And oh, by the way, Sean Payton is an offensive guru, so I don't expect a sophomore slump. I expect the Broncos to compete in the AFC West. Number 2, I go to the Bengals. Yes, Shamar Stewart just signed, but Trey Hendrickson, will he be traded? Will he sign a long-term deal? This is going to be a huge opportunity for Cincinnati to either establish themselves in the AFC or potentially struggle again early in the season without one of the best pass rushers in the entire NFL. And then last but not least, in the AFC, I'm looking at the Browns quarterback battle. Will it be the rookies or the vets? Joe Flacco is 40 years old. He's been splitting first-team reps with Kenny Pickett. But you have Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, who are younger and more athletic. What will happen at quarterback with the Cleveland Browns? Those are the 3 AFC storylines I'm keeping my eye on.
Yeah, everyone making a big deal of Shedeur Sanders not getting first-team reps, and he said, look, it's out of my control. I'm just going to go out there and do what I got to do. All right, switching over to the NFC, what 3 storylines are you looking at over there?
I'm looking over at the NFC West, and who's going to take control? Yes, the Rams have been dominant at least the last several years, but the 49ers are going through a rebuild. Jonathan Gannon going in year 3 when it comes to what he's doing in Arizona. So NFC West, what will happen? Will Kyler Murray and this Arizona Cardinals team with Marvin Harrison Jr. make a big jump? Is Brock Purdy rebuilding? What's happening in San Francisco? And then obviously Seattle, you have a new quarterback in Sam Darnold. So one of those teams will have to take a big time jump if they want to be successful in the NFC West and really compete for a playoff spot in the NFC. Secondly, it's the Jerry Jones versus Micah Parsons saga. No, it's not the Cowboys as a whole, but Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones have gone back and forth in the media when it comes to signing a long-term deal. Micah's had his comments, Jerry's had his, but Micah Parsons expects to be paid. Will it happen now, or will he wait even longer, at least when it comes to Jerry Jones? And last but not least, let's go over to Chicago. Caleb Williams has Ben Johnson as his head coach, leading the offense. There are no more excuses for Caleb Williams. The offensive line has been revamped from the inside out. You have receivers that have been drafted, guys like Luther Burden. And finally, you have a defense that is playing at a higher level. And so what will this marriage look like in Chicago, Lake Forest, with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson? Those are the 3 NFC storylines I'm keeping my eye on.
Yeah, a lot of eyes on the offensive line out there in Chicago. Caleb Williams sacked 68 times last season, hoping to take a step forward this season. Sam Acho with the insight on all the storylines we need to keep our eyes on. Thanks so much, Acho. Here in our NFL reporter, Jeremy Fowler, joins us live from Browns training camp in Berea, Ohio. And Jeremy, everyone's talking about this quarterback battle out there in Cleveland. What more can you tell us about this battle just a few days into training camp?
Amina, that Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco have been trading blows, getting first-team reps going back and forth. Head coach Kevin Stefanski has really tweaked the lineup of quarterback reps every day, but this could be Kenny Pickett's day. He's had a nice few days of camp, could get the first-team reps as the Browns get started here behind me shortly. And then you have the rookies, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, who backfill from there. Gabriel's gotten slightly more first-team reps than Sanders, who hasn't gotten any yet, but the Browns have been pleased with how Sanders is throwing the ball. He's willing to try to fit the ball into tight windows. And right now, it does feel like anything's possible. The Browns' plan is pretty clear right now. Let's get players on dual fields, as many reps as we can over the first few weeks of camp, similar to the spring, and then they'll sort of crystallize the pecking order of things as they get closer to preseason game action.
Yeah, it's still very early, a lot of competition to go. Let's go to the defense. Myles Garrett earned himself a big payday this offseason. What expectations does he have for himself and the rest of this defense this season?
Well, Garrett has made clear here from training camp that the Browns will go as I go. I want to be a driving force and create a standard for this defense that 2 years ago was one of the league's very best, fell deeply in the rankings a year ago. So Garrett knows that he's going to perform on the field. He has no problem with that. 4 straight seasons of 14 or more sacks is an NFL record in the modern era. But for him, it's more from a leadership standpoint, being more vocal, bringing guys along. If he sees something out here on the practice field he doesn't like, he is going to make it known.
The Browns with big storylines on offense and defense coming into this season. Jared
rushed for more yards than any player ever. Also led the league with 436 rush attempts, 69 more than anybody else, and he found the end zone 18 times.
Eagles reporter Sal Paolantonio joining us live from Eagles training camp as a part of NFL Back Together weekend. And the Eagles recently got those Super Bowl rings. So, Sal Pal, how has Jalen Hurts treated this offseason after coming off of that Super Bowl victory?
Good morning, Amita. Great to be with you on SportsCenter on NFL's Back Together weekend. And look at this spectacular day we have here in South Philadelphia at the NovaCare facility, home of the Super Bowl champs, our first national TV live look. And practice will begin in about 2.5 hours. And you're right, Jalen Hurts has been setting the tone. He went and he saw Michael Jordan, his mentor, to talk to him about how to reset, about how to regenerate. When you're at the top of the mountain to get back, what do you have to do? Mind and body and soul. And Nick Sirianni said that to the team when he gathered them this week. But Jalen Hurts, he's the CEO. He's the tone setter. He's the enforcer of the head coach's message. I want you to listen to this, not only what he says, but how he says it.
Ultimately, it's a new journey, it's a blank canvas, and we are who we are, we have what we have. And regardless, whether you win a championship or lose a championship the next year, you have to be able to reset, have the right focus, and pursue it with, great intensity, great passion. And I think that's where we are.
And where Saquon Barkley is, by the way, great conversation with our Marty Smith with Saquon Barkley. He went out and did some consulting of his own. Remember, he had 436 carries last year. That was a career high. So he went and talked to 2 Hall of Famers, Marshall Faulk and Edgerrin James. And here's what they told them. Take a look at this quote from Saquon Barkley that's very interesting. Quote, "Everyone I trust told me, sit my a blank blank." Well, we're going to call it tush. Sit my tush down. When I was younger, you think someone's getting better than me. I see Derrick Henry running hills, Christian McCaffrey post something. The old me would be like, I gotta go. You see where I went with that, Amina? We're in Philadelphia, home of the tush push. We take out the ASS and we put in tush.
Look, completely on brand, Sal Paolantonio. Some great advice that Saquon Barkley getting there from some of the greats. We got more from NFL Back Together weekend shortly. Sal, thanks so much for the insight.
All 32 teams in camp. A special edition of NFL Live kicks off at 9 a.m. Eastern. We're live this hour with the Lions and Falcons and Dolphins and Jets in New York. Hearts went to throats on day 1 of practice when new QB1 Justin Fields left the field injured. Turned out to be a dislocated big toe, which is relatively minor, all things considered. The Jets haven't made the playoffs since 2010. That is the longest active NFL drought. Jets reporter Rich Cimini joins us now from Florham Park in New Jersey for training camp. And Rich, a big scare avoided Thursday. Fields' injury being a dislocated toe, uncomfortable, but preferable to a lot of other things. What can you tell us about the plan for him for the rest of camp?
Well, he is